Oh, Lucas, we chatted to you this morning. You were rapid, but you had some mishaps.
Yeah, just quite unfortunate. Got caught up in a couple of stuff which couldn't really help with how I was going, but recovered all right, fourth in the end. So
yeah, fourth's not too bad. I couldn't help but notice you had a small altercation on the practice laps, just finding the limit of grip.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a change since what I last drove. Last time I was in a KZ, so going back to this, just realised that there wasn't any front brakes.
There's definitely not front brakes, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, sent me off quite a fair way.
But you had good pace this morning. Was it? I can't remember if your race was in the wet or the dry.
It was like in between. It wasn't wet, but it wasn't dry.
So you've got a little bit of an idea of where the grip is and isn't. It's now full wet. Of course, slick tyres on these Club 100 karts. We don't get the luxury of wets. What's your plan?
Just keep going forward, no penalties, and should be all right.
Should be all right. Should be all right. Good luck. Good luck. Obviously, the Loughborough team.
And welcome back to the action here at GYG. It is round 6 now, race 1, and I'm looking forward to a action-packed afternoon. So, row 1, it is Loughborough C, Warwick A. Row 2 is Cardiff B, Nottingham A. Row 3, Liverpool B and UCL A. Moving on, we have row 4, Manchester B, Brunel A. Row 5, Lancaster A, Surrey A. Row 6, Derby A and Bristol A. Moving on to row 7, it's Bath B, Coventry A. Row 8, Coventry D and Oxford Brookes A. Row 9, Brighton A and Leeds A. Row 10 is Leicester A and Loughborough B. Row 11, Southampton B and Hertfordshire A. Row 12, Oxford Brookes D and Oxford A. Row 13, Birmingham A and Loughborough D. Row 14, Loughborough A and Warwick B. Row 15, Exeter A and UEA A. And then row 16, Exeter B, Brighton B. Row 17, Swansea A and Liverpool A. And row 18, Southampton A and UClan A. So then, practice laps underway. The conditions a little bit better than what we had just a half an hour ago. I say that though, that is not looking particularly happy out there. I did pop outside briefly and it was looking a little bit better, but maybe not.
Indeed. So the practice formation shorter in the second afternoon round. Everybody's been out on circuit at least once so far today. Joe Holmes pulls into the pit lane. We will be ready to go for 25 minutes to kick off round number 6, and a round number 6 where we could crown champions for this year. Into turn 1 they go. Everyone still slipping and sliding through turn 1 using the full width of the circuit. They're looking pretty clean so far as they head up towards the first big braking zone here at GYG.
Yep.
Rain's still quite persistent, Reeve, over this top end of the circuit. This is where we've seen the action so far today.
I'm shocked to see that we've got such a split in weather on certain parts of the circuit grounds there, although the number 51 car getting a great getaway. The Loughborough C doing exactly what we need to do at the start of the race. There is the Liverpool B car of number 76. He's made up a couple of positions in the first few corners, but seems to be embroiled in some battling for the time being, so we'll see how that carries on. We've got contact already between Coventry A and Brunel A, so already the elbows are out.
Absolutely. Drivers coming down through the order. So the setup, if you've just joined us, if you're new to the BUKC, or you just need a reminder, exactly the same as what we had this morning for this afternoon round. This is the sprint format again, 6 races of 25 minutes. Each team competes in 4 of them. The best 3 results count towards their round classification. End of lap number 1, Loughborough C lead. Warwick A with Jean Samu there in second place. He's had a very good season so far for Warwick A. Manchester B in 3rd place, Coventry A 4th. And then this battle that we're looking at here for 5th place between Liverpool B and now Lancaster A down the inside, taking the position there. Driver in the Lewis Hamilton replica helmet in the karts, numbered 118.
Yep, great move by Lancaster there. Good start for Loughborough, as we've already mentioned, 2 seconds away from the field now. So, as we've seen, a couple of points now in this wet weather running. Best way to start the race is just break away. And that's an issue there for kart number 44.
Yeah.
Who is that there?
Southampton B, who did cross the line at the end of lap 1 in 32nd place. Bit of an odd place to be parked up on the inside of the approach. Up to Spoon Curve, as somebody else has become
victim of the conditions there.
It's a very tricky corner at Devil's Elbow, because so you probably can't see it at home on the cameras, but the track, Reeve, it properly slopes
disappears away from you.
Yeah,
camber is aggressive.
Disappears is a good word with the camber that you have there. and especially in these wet conditions, if you get a bit of over-rotation of the kart, gravity takes effect and you just slip off the road, as we've just seen there.
That big lead that Loughborough C had built up has shrunk to some degree there. Warwick A making good progress towards them, and behind them Coventry A being dragged along as well, setting the fastest lap so far. We expect those times obviously to tumble down when we start getting some fast laps in. Now up the inside goes the number 1 car of Oxford Brooks A on the 76 car of Liverpool B. That was another great move. Liverpool now down to 8th position. Advantage by contact for Oxford A there. That is kart number 62 in 19th position. So not what we're looking at this point in time. And someone else having a bit of an issue there. Let's see if they're able to rejoin the track in a relatively timely manner.
Yeah, I think that was still our Devil's Elbow spinner, which I think is going to be Nottingham A, because Nottingham A have not come round to complete their second lap yet.
Oh, something's happened to Warwick there. They're
Yeah.
tumbling down the order.
So Warwick A, yeah, they are indeed tumbling down the order. So Jean Samu has had a problem out there. Good run of form, I'm afraid, is going to come to an end in terms of race results.
And that spurred Coventry A on. That gap was standing at about 3 seconds to the leader of this race. That now is about 0.8 of a second. So he is racing hard at this point in time in the 104s. Who is that off?
And that's going to be one of our Prem karts, because that's a black number board. That is, once again, Spoon Corner. One where we've seen most of the thrills and spills today. And even just that slight incline makes it so tricky. The grass is thick. We're at the end of the winter. It's a bit boggy in there as well.
And you got all that massive runoff of the rain, because the circuit is basically kind of just slapped on a hill effectively.
Yes.
That's where all the elevation changes come from. So you get all the runoff heading down the circuit, and it's creating some unfavourable conditions, especially when we've had half an hour's interval as Coventry now takes the lead of the race. Yeah, we've had half an hour interval.
Surrey A. I think it's Surrey A falling down the order, because the number 33 was running at the front of the field, is now tumbling down through the order, and that would match up with a Prem kart, a black number boarded kart.
Yeah, we're on board at the moment with Exeter A, and Exeter A have been a bit of almost like the protagonists over the past few races. They've had to start further down the order, and have always found themselves working their way up through the running, no matter where they've ended up starting from or where they found themselves at the end of lap 1. They've had some good races here, and that looks to be continuing on. Currently in P10, their pace at the moment, it was a 105 on that previous lap, so a little bit better than the cars around them. So let's watch out for them as Lancaster sets the fast lap of the race. Loughborough C, they're still fighting for this race lead, still only 0.3 off Coventry A here.
So the round results was confirmed that Oxford Brooks A won round 5, virtue of scoring 176 round points.
That was an impressive charge from them.
It was indeed. So what that means is that they score 60 championship points.
And there they are, setting a fastest lap in celebration, as they are now only 3 seconds off the lead of the race.
The key point being, though, Exeter A, Max O'Shaughnessy in for them at the moment in this, the start of round 6, finished in 2nd place. So they take, from round 5, 59 championship points. And if we go back to what we said at the start of the programme earlier on this morning, they need to finish an average, basically, of 3rd in each round. Now, they bettered that. They scored 2nd place, so 59 points instead of 58. That means guaranteed, because Reading did not get the kind of results that could have stopped or made Exeter's job a little bit harder this morning. That means Exeter, at worst, need 4th. As just saw Jean Samu off again there for Warwick A. So if Exeter A finished this round number 6, in 4th place or better, they will be BUKC champions for 2023.
Exciting stuff, and it's certainly going their way at this point in time. Still on board with the Exeter team at the moment, as they've now got a very small gap to the car up in front. It is closing corner by corner, though. UEA getting the overtake done on UCL. Liverpool B up into 5th, so a good resurgence given that it wasn't looking too strong for them at the start of the race. Loughborough C oh so close, though, to Coventry, only a 10th separating them as we crossed the last timing marker. Coventry, though, still an impressive lap there, matching pretty much Loughborough on that previous one. A cone penalty for Loughborough A there. Loughborough A aren't in this front-running fight, but still interesting to see the cone penalties coming in. It's very difficult to navigate the circuit in these cars, as I've already alluded to. It is technical and And yeah, after half an hour's interval, the carts will be very cold. This circuit will certainly be not primed and ready for racing conditions. It'll be a very difficult drive out there indeed.
Could be worse though, could be snowing.
Don't rule it out. I think the temperatures that we've got at the moment, I'm actually surprised it's feeling so mild out there. I've fallen back into my weather reporting mode once again. As we see Oxford Brookes now getting the move done on Lancaster Straight. That is an impressive pace in that car there, and that is quite easy to see why they've got ahead and up into P3. 103.9 on that previous lap was the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, just looking further through the round 5 results. All the results available on the website, wilkes.alphatiming.co.uk/BUKC. Brooks A, as we reported, won the round. Second for Exeter A, third for Nottingham Trent A, giving them the win in the Clubman class. Southampton A in fourth completed the podium in Premier class. Manchester A were fifth, Brooks B sixth, Edinburgh A seventh, Bath A eighth, Sheffield A ninth, and Birmingham A 10th. So that was your top 10 overall. Liverpool B also sneaking into the top 10 for Premier teams, because of course we had one Clubman kart in that top 10 overall. And then just to round out the club podium, Loughborough A, the number 4, finished 14th overall and second in club, and Coventry C pipped their own B team to third place in club in virtue of a 4th place finish versus a 7th place finish, because those two teams finished equal on points.
I see. Just Coventry on that previous lap responding to the charge behind, and Loughborough C about second behind now. Coventry putting in a 104.7 on that previous go-around. And if we have a look at, actually, UCLA have lost a couple of positions. I believe they have a penalty to serve as well, or will be serving that post-race. My memory might be failing me there, but I swear I saw something pop up. Oxford Brookes A in the 103s, as we've already mentioned. Impressive pace from them so far. That track's starting to clean up just that little bit more now. We're 10 minutes into this race, and it's starting to look a little bit more racing friendly.
Is indeed. And Exeter just making their way past one of the... In fact, that's been quite a change on this lap, because that means Liverpool B have fallen down the order and Exeter A have jumped up, and they've met around 7th place, side by side, as they head up towards the top of the circuit here. This is the fighter in around 5th position, and with some back markers in the middle of it all as well. There is the number 1 of Oxford Brookes A, currently in 2nd position, trying to fend off Loughborough C and Lancaster A in all of this. In fact, they've not been able to. Loughborough C have got through. Loughborough C down the inside of one of the back markers there. This is the real tester, I feel, Reeve, of a BUKC driver's skills. This stage of the race, you've got yourself into a nice rhythm in terms of, you know, putting the fast laps in, but especially in these conditions, you catch up to the traffic. You can't do that anymore. You've got to find a way around them, and how to do that cleanly is what really marks the great drivers out in this series.
Definitely, especially at this stage in the race, when you mention you get into that rhythm, you don't want to start becoming a little bit complacent. Maybe your mind starts to wander elsewhere, yeah, you can easily allow the mistakes to start slipping in, especially the likes of Sector 3, where the corners start coming at you at a great rate. And then you've got the likes of, you might just, it doesn't look too rainy out there on screen. It definitely is, though. We can confirm. So yeah, you want to make sure heading into corners like Spoon or like the Carousel, you want to make sure that you aren't facing the wrong direction on the way out there. It can be very difficult indeed over a 25-minute race.
Absolutely. Contact warning for Liverpool A, the number 43. How are they getting on at the moment? Down in 27th position right now in a battle with Bath B and Leicester A.
Southampton A just posted an impressive fastest lap there. They have once again, we talked about a few teams having a bit of a roller coaster race day, really. There's some taking wins and then dropping all the way back through the order the next race. Not being able to string together the day. Southampton seems to be back on form again in this race now. They're climbing their way through the order and setting some good lap times at this point in time. And
I know we've been talking a lot about Exeter and that they could potentially wrap up the championship here today. If they do, and at the moment it is looking good, what I would say to folk who are thinking, oh, what's there to tune in for round 7 and 8? There is probably one of the most open battles for second place I can ever remember in the BUKC, because we've had so many teams that can show on their day they're right up there. They can be in a top 3 in a round. But because they've all had this inconsistency, there's probably 6 or 7 teams that have a genuine shot at ending in the top 3 of the championship overall and taking one of the big trophies home with them. And that's not normal. Normally when we get to the final meeting, it's okay, it's a championship win that's going to be 1 from maybe 3, and a podium battle of the remainders of those 3 and maybe a couple more. Whereas this year, I think Brooks are in there, Southampton are in there, Reading are in there, Birmingham, Cardiff, all of these teams that have shown that they can win races, they're all going to having a great battle when we get to Clay Pigeon around just over a month's time.
Yeah, it's been really impressive to see so far just how much the pace has permeated through the field so far this season. Some teams are really shining on their day, and I can't remember the last time I saw that in the BUKC. It's been very impressive indeed. As we have Liverpool B, Loughborough B still battling it out. Liverpool not getting the start to the race that they would want, and actually getting a curb warning. I'm not quite sure what that was, but I'm going to take a wild guess and presume it is at the end of the lap, the monster curbing, where the monster curb lies. 6 tenths separating of them and Loughborough at the moment.
I know what it is. I know what it is. It's because they've taken those curbs that on their own are quite large, but they've put the largest man in the BUKC spotting them to make them look deceptively small. And that's what Jacob's now getting offending customers, and he's going to start handing penalties out to left, right and centre this afternoon. He said to us earlier that he's not given a curb warning to anybody yet. Now he's giving them left all over the place.
Now if you look at a curb, you've got a penalty.
10.5 minutes of the race to go. Coventry A leading, Oxford Brooks A second. How many times have we said that over the years of the BUKC? Neither of them are going to be in the fight for winning the title this year, I think. They're putting on quite a show in this race. Lancaster A third, top of the clubman teams at the moment. Loughborough C in 4th, and then Exeter A once again. How many times? It's just been their consistency of getting into this position. Okay, maybe there's been teams that have come along in the BUKC in years gone by and won more individual races, but the fact that they always seem to find this way of getting into around the top 5 has been so impressive this season.
Yeah, especially from what we've seen today as well. They're just so able to pick up rubber and bring home points. It's very impressive indeed. Having a look there, Liverpool B have picked up an advantage by contact penalty, so that makes the job just that little bit easier for Loughborough, Southampton and Manchester behind. Southampton obviously on a bit of a charge at the moment, trying to get overtakes done on track. It looks like it was about to work for them then. It was they were having a look. We're going to have to wait for the next overtaking opportunity. As we see, actually the gap between Coventry and Oxford Brooks out in the lead, getting smaller and smaller by the second now, only 4 tenths of a second. Just a couple of kart lengths. That'll be getting, I imagine, a little bit heated out at the front end of the field.
Yeah, time ticking on by. New fastest lap confirmed there for Loughborough A. As, oh dear, off. I think that's one of the Liverpool drivers, in number 43.
It is.
And those poor new suits getting drenched and now covered in grass and mud and muck, and there's a little bit of a lip there just on the edge of the circuit. That's what the driver's struggling with there. Is this the front bumper is probably ground out against that lip as the track drops away and forms into the grass verge.
And I believe that's the smallest driver, the lightest driver that Liverpool team has, so he's going to struggle to pick up that car and get it.
I feel this is why I know all about these berms, because I've encountered all of them over the years whilst I've driven around this circuit. Black flag as well for a restart off the grass for Brighton B, so that's going to be disqualification for Brighton B, down in 30th place. Nil point for them from this race.
Only a tenth now between Oxford Brooks and Coventry. Out of the curb warning for Birmingham A. So the curb warning, we shouldn't have reminded Jacob about the curb warnings. They're now flying in. Yes, the gap between Oxford and Coventry now very small indeed. We'll jump on board with that 24 car in just a moment, hopefully, and see that battle for the lead of the race. In terms of how many ineligibles do we have?
I haven't got it confirmed yet, but again, if you see an Oxford Brooks D or E cart, disregard them, but we'll find out in due course. It tends to be that the ineligibles appear later in the round. And
Coventry had a very strong sector 3 on that previous lap, has allowed him a little bit of breathing room as we head down towards turn 3 once again. 7/10 separating the two carts, and a bit of a slide for Oxford Brooks as we head through that third corner there. That could cost him, that could make all the difference here, because you've got to carry that momentum through. Maybe not quite so much as we headed down towards sector 3, but still momentum in these not the most powerful go-karts in the world, still very important indeed.
Absolutely. More trouble for Liverpool karts. Number 76 has had a contact warning.
With the gap between Exeter and Lancaster also shrinking down somewhat now. They're involved in their own little battle as well. At this point in the race, there's only a few laps to go. Do you decide, if you're Lancaster and Exeter, do you decide to maybe work together, maybe try and close that gap to P2, and in the hopes, although they're very fast indeed, in the hopes that something goes wrong out in front?
Well, if we kind of consider the situation of the traffic, I'd probably give it another lap or so. There's not a lot of traffic ahead of the two leaders.
Yep.
So yeah, I wouldn't quite call off the charge to try and close down Brooks A and Coventry A yet, but we're not far off them having to resign themselves to being third is the best we can get. We may as well start fighting for it.
Yeah, Exeter already in third. Oh, that's gone wrong for a clubman there. That is the number 68 cart at the final corner. Haven't seen too much of it. Seen the odd cart going off at the final corner there. Who is that? Number 68 cart.
Number 68 will be Coventry D. So Coventry D, who were down in 29th place, did have a bit of an advantage though over Liverpool A, so they should be able to hold on to that position. And
we have an ABC penalty for Leeds as well, so they'll be pegged back a few positions. Also one for Liverpool B coming in a few laps ago, so as we've mentioned already, so that not helping them either. A couple of ABC penalties so far today, and then another black flag. This is for Loughborough A, and they are resigned to the pits. Yeah, which is a shame. They had good pace, fastest lap. They did have good pace, down in 18th place now though, and that'll get progressively worse because they'll have to come into the pits for that black flag. The gap's still very close indeed between Coventry and Oxford Brooks. We're on board with them here as they're heading round to head through to sector 3 once again. There is a rather lonesome Liverpool cart there, just occupying. Oh, 3 wide as they're going through the carousel there. Some brave driving being put in by, well, this is the third place battle, isn't it? This is the thing. These drivers are all trying to go for these points now. The number 20, I was particularly impressed with UEA's driving there to thread the needle on the exit of the carousel. Less than 4.5 minutes to go. Hello to Justin Tang, by the way. Good to hear from you, Justin. Cheering on Coventry A at the moment, leading this race. Southampton A gaining a position, continue their good day so far, up to 6th place past Loughborough C. Both leaders sliding through, apologies, no, not leaders, sliding through turn 3 there, and another black flag. They are absolutely pouring in now in this race for another restart off grass as well. This time it is Leicester A. Yeah, I think there'll probably be some reminders in the paddock afterwards about restarting from the grass, and the drivers have this very hard, fast rule that they've got to be back on the tarmac before they turn the engines over, these Rotax Evo engines, and get going again. Very interesting, actually. We've just seen someone from Exeter there, but according to, thank you George for that, so according to Exeter's own calculations, they believe they need a 7th overall. Yeah, that sounds about right. I've not quite got the numbers turned round yet. We'll do that in due course, but we know that Reading have dropped further points, and we know also that there was a bit of a gap back to the likes of Bath, who were in 3rd place. But what we can say for sure is that performances like this, and the new fastest lap of the race from Max O'Shaughnessy,
every lap they turn, Exeter are getting a step close to this BUKC title that they missed out on so tightly last year in 2022.
I'd like to commend the leaders as well, although they are enjoying a bit, well, not a full-on battle, but they're certainly pushing each other. They're pushing each other well and effectively. The pace is good on both of those carts. They haven't compromised each other's races too much. They've been able to stay clear of the fastest lap holders and have been rather enjoying their own race out in front for quite some time now.
Yeah, they have indeed. Some great performances, rolling back the years almost of battles between Coventry A and Brooks A.
Looked a little bit close, too close for comfort there for Coventry A. They headed round the final corner once again. Perhaps the back end just beginning to step out as the road so close to the curbs there. That allowed Oxford Brooks to maybe think about a move up the inside heading into turn one. He was too far back to make it stick though, or to even contemplate it really. I just want to mention as well the Loughborough carts once again always finding each other on track. Loughborough C, Loughborough B, and Loughborough D all in the top 10 now.
Yeah, picking up some good points for the team from the Midlands. And your heart goes out to them because I feel this pain. This was me back in 2014 when, you know, you'll probably be 60-something kilos. These carts feel a lot heavier when you haven't got much body mass and you've got to push them up a Snowdonia hill in the wet. You're cold. You're damp to the bone,
definitely,
and you just can feel the positions and the time ebbing away there. So my heart goes out to the driver in the number 58 there. I've been there, son. Loughborough D. We've cursed him again.
Luckily, my driving career not quite long enough in the BUKCs for too many misfortunes. It was just overall one big misfortune, really. Loughborough B now getting past Loughborough C into 7th position on the road. Gap, they are managing that gap out in the front so well. It seems to be never going above half a second, and at some points as close as 1/10. That's just a couple of kart lengths in these conditions at most. Very impressive driving from the front here. Seen some very convincing leading drives from past few races here.
And this will be another one of those close ones as to whether the time expires before the drivers get to the line. I think it might do on this occurrence. The number 24 has got to fight through all of this. This could be the last lap. It is going to be the last lap. You can see them looking over the shoulder.
Oh, he has the inside.
They're going to look down the inside. They're going to protest there, but Coventry are going to get it on the line. How close is this? They've done it.
Brilliant.
They've done it by less than 1/10 of a second. And they just kept the foot in, they kept the momentum round the outside, on that outside line. Doesn't matter how big the gap is, as long as there is one. 0.068 for a Coventry A race win over Oxford Brooks A. That has got to be the closest race finish we have had this year. Well kept head there for Coventry, because that could have so easily gone wrong. Exeter A come home in 3rd. They would have wanted that race to go on one more lap longer, because they were absolutely romping in to Coventry and Brooks. UEA A finishing 4th. Lancaster A, the top of the Clubman carts, home in 5th. Southampton A 6th. Loughborough B and C home 7th and 8th. Liverpool B 9th, and Manchester B completing the top 10. But what a finish there to race one in round 6. What's also happening there? How's that cart got into the middle of all that? Took my eyes away from the screen one moment, and then this cart coming in a very unorthodox line into the finish line. Something tells me after that this is going to be a bit of a fun afternoon here at GYG.
Yes, what a drive to the line that was. I think as well, I saw both drivers congratulating each other as they crossed the line, and I hope that was the case, because that was a fantastic effort from both. What a finish. It was all made on that one last corner.